James Smith, welcome to the Without Limits podcast.
Thanks for having me in this very professional studio, which makes me feel like any podcast effort I've ever made on my own is abysmal.
Mate, that means a lot to know that you think you're impressed by the studio.
It's yours. You know, there's so many studios where so many people, they see a studio, they're like, message their mate, oh, where's that? Oh, it's in, London in this area. And then everyone uses it. And then I can't watch the podcast because I've seen 5 different podcasts use the same room. And it's nice to see something. I actually wasn't sure if I was coming to a studio. This is yours. It's sick. Your podcast studio is more professional than my office.
I think we'll end it there. We've done it. Bosh. James Smith endorsed. Mate, it's been a long time coming. You're someone that I've had a huge amount of respect for in the industry, and I've obviously followed your journey from afar. We've shared messages over the years, infrequently and a small amount, but yeah, we've always had good interactions. And the opportunity to sit down with you today is something I've very much been looking forward to. So, as I said to you just now, no real agenda. I'm going to try and go through loads of different stuff that I'm personally very interested in. I think will resonate with my audience. I'm sure there's a lot of crossover between my audience and your audience anyway. And I think you're a pretty complex character, so there's lots that we can hopefully dive into. I always start with, the name of the podcast is Without Limits. So the idea behind it is to speak to cool people that are out there doing cool shit, be it in business, with their personal life, with their fitness. And I always ask people what Without Limits means to them. I think you're someone that's got this, certainly a mindset towards growth and attitude towards life. And you seem to have lived the different seasons of your life on fucking full goo. So what does Without Limits mean to you?
It's not always been like this. 10 years ago, 25, I'd accomplished nothing, really. The fact that I was on the bench for a National 2 rugby team was my highest accomplishment. Semi-pro. I got £100 if I went on the pitch. That was peaking, guys. I was playing Nat 3 before. Oh my God, Nat 2, which is still like 4 or 5 below the Prem. The shortest second row ever to play in National League. So, and my mindset then was very much personal training at the gym. I was always trying to think maybe I can get my hourly rate to 80, 90 pounds in the next 5 years. Maybe by the time I'm 40, I could have 6 clients that I see between 6 a.m. and 2 p.m. That was the dream, always. Everything else, pretty much like by accident. But when you get a taste of it, then you realize, oh, there is potentially no ceiling here. And whether it be social media, business, if you were to ask me 2 years ago about having a drinks business, I'd say, no, I'm not interested. 2 years later, we've got a pretty successful drinks business. So many things as well that I never thought I would do, I've done. But it's, I suppose, just not having limits to your thinking. If you write a book, you don't want to write it just so that 100,000 people buy it. You want to think about, let's make this so millions of people can read it. If you make a product, you've got to plan long term as if, okay, this isn't just for my followers. We want something that potentially anyone could drink. I think that for so much of my life, we're kind of all following a blueprint in life. Go to school, behave, go to uni, get a degree, get a job, get a mortgage. Done. I think that's why so many people potentially don't live up to their full potential in life, because it boils down to objectives. So video games, people can often be more successful playing video games than they can in their real life. So your GTA character might have done more than you've done in your life. And I think it boils down to having good objectives. And I think that for the most of my life, and probably the majority of most people's lives, no one is setting them objectives. And it's only when you get into entrepreneurialism, fitness. Progressive overload is really the first value of objectives in a linear fashion that we abide to. And if you can apply that to other areas of life, it's actually probably better returns. Because in fitness, we see this arc, whether it's muscle growth, performance, where soon you're going to be fighting so hard just to add a few kilograms to your bench. Whereas in the world of success, business, entrepreneurialism, that arc never fades, and you get a taste of it. And then you realize that the little element of that was in fitness is much more fun in the big world. And I think that's all I've done, is just seek to progressive overload in the realm of life.
I love that. Where does that come from? Because you referenced the rugby career and fairly humble beginnings. Like, where did that sort of mindset towards and attitude towards life come from?
I'm not even sure, to be honest. My parents probably did a good job bringing me up, where they actually looked after me when I was growing up. I wasn't spoiled, but I wasn't, struggling. Little things like my mum and dad bought my first car, which was an old Fiat Punto. It was like £1,900 before anyone thinks you see people with like learner plates on a Mercedes or something. And then just little things, my dad would pay the insurance on my car. So then when I would work, the money would be mine. I wasn't stressed. So I was from a privileged upbringing in that sense. Even just the fact that my mum and dad are still married is probably part of privilege that you can have. But yeah, my dad's always just told me to work hard and also just to enjoy myself. I definitely got caught up in the trap of working corporate and jobs I hated. So I worked in recruitment, worked in IT sales. Exhausting. And I spent so much of my life pretending to be someone I wasn't. In the corporate world, man, you're just chatting shit all day. Even to some
You'd
respect.
be pretty good at that then, huh?
Yeah, but it was not even in the good sense. So you go to work, everyone's like, "Oh, James, how was your weekend?" I was like, "Yeah, good. Went for dinner with friends." I didn't. I had a bin bag around my neck and I was thrown up because I did Amy Winehouse on a rugby bus, So, and then what happened? I don't know, got pissed and kicked out of a club, but you couldn't tell them because it's corporate. And just wearing a suit to work each day, I was like, this is fucking exhausting. So when I became a PT, I was just buzzing about the fact I could wear shorts to work. I run really warm. So even wearing trousers or a suit, I'll just sweat all the time. The reason I'm wearing a vest now is because I sweat. I'm sweating right now. So I was just buzzing to have a career where I was like, well, I can work whatever I want. I can counsel a client. I can go to work in shorts. I was like, this is amazing. And a lot of it's just been the continuation of it. And I suppose you just morph the thing you do on a daily basis. You're still chasing the same thing. And I think I've just been fortunate to keep doing it, keep growing it. It's not always easy at times. I wonder if you've done this. You have your own world, you're self-employed, you run your own businesses, you've got staff. And in the onset, you almost shit on the 9-to-5ers because I've been a 9-to-5er. But then there's sometimes I'm like, oh, fuck, I do miss it because I used to leave work on a Friday and not give a fuck. Or if I went on holiday, I wouldn't think about business till the fucking morning of the day I went back to work. Whereas now, my brain never stops. I can't have a holiday. Having a holiday means I just work in a different location and maybe just get everything done in the first few hours of the day. Do you struggle with that?
I think I never really had too much experience of I had never had experience of the corporate world and never really had experience of the 9-to-5. And so I think I've almost been conditioned to understand the kind of realms of entrepreneurism and working for yourself. I also, I think, growing up, loved the idea of how hard I was working impacting what I could earn, even from like as a teenager. Whereas I knew that if I took a normal job, that was sometimes out of my control.
I think that's why I struggle to hire people as well, because we were speaking about this before. The idea, I've been on a salary, and I remember in one of the first jobs I had, my commission was capped to 10K, and I hit my commission. So I said to my manager, "Is there any way we can, push this up?" She goes, "No." I said, "Okay." I go, "Well, I'm not incentivized to work." She went, "I get that, but you're contracted to make 100 calls a day." I say, "Okay, but I could just call anyone." She was like, "I don't care." Her responsibilities to her boss, whether that I did 100 calls, my responsibility to her was the same. So I'd sit in my office for about 4 months, and every day I would call Cornwall County Council, because when you get through to their phone line, it says press 1, press 2, press 3, press 4, but then it goes back to the beginning.
That counts as multiple calls.
Yeah, so I would have a call duration of maybe like 45 minutes. Then I would hit it like 50, 60, 70 times, and my average call duration would be like 1-2 minutes, which was amazing. So they're like, James is busting his ass out there, he's working hard. And so much of the corporate world is kind of exactly that. You're going to work, if you're an employer, maybe not you, your staff look happy out there. Ultimately, a salary is giving someone the least amount of money for the most amount of time, energy, and effort possible. And even my sister, we were talking at the table the other day, my mum was like, "Oh, but she gets dental and healthcare." I said, "Mum, let me make something clear. They are going to pay someone less money and give the perks so that they don't have to give the person that money. And the reason is that if you give someone dental and healthcare, you're doing it so they spend less time off work. Because if someone gets ill or someone has real bad toothache and needs surgery or whatever, that person's not working for you. So rather than paying someone 70K a year, you pay them 60 and give them the benefits. Because if you gave them 70, they might not spend the money on looking after themselves, which is a detriment to you as a business, because then they might end up being signed off work. So every employer is pretty much just looking out for themselves. So when I started working for myself and I could curate and design and determine how much I earned by effort, I was like, what a reward system. But again, I almost envy the people that can go to work for a salary because they get to leave at 5:30, cool, switch off. When they're watching TV, they're present. There's me thinking about content ideas, hooks. Even scrolling YouTube, I'm like, wow, that's a great title. That's a great title. I want to use that. And yeah, there was definitely something there, whether it was, trying to prove something of myself. The fact, when I was at school, I was actually a bit of a loser. I didn't really have that many friends. I had like 2 friends. And the dickheads in the year that like bullies kind of and got insecure. I was one of them.
You got bullied or you?
No, a bit of both. When I was smaller at first school, I got a bit bullied. So then I kind of gave it back to the dickheads when I was at secondary school. But I wasn't particularly popular. I got in trouble all the time. And I think the real burning desire would be that up until 26, looking at it now, I was a bit of a loser. I moved back in with my parents at 26. I had no savings. Apart from being a pretty good PT, that was all I had going for me. Rugby, never gone as well as I thought. My careers before, never gone as well as I thought. All the relationships I've been in hadn't worked out. So the harsh reality is, at 26, I was a bit of a fucking loser. So by the time I was 28, I had a successful business and I was kind of caught up with my first taste of success ever in my life. You know, it sounds like a bit of a fucking, you know, like sob story, but it's not. It's the fact that I got a taste of being successful. I probably, at 28, someone could go, what you've done is really, really impressive. No one had ever said that to me before in my life. So I think that maybe I was just chasing that as far as I could. I was like, wow, I'm actually good at something. So let's keep going with it. Same way that maybe, I don't know your training history too well, but you might have tried doing traditional bodybuilding. You might have tried doing running. You might have tried doing athletics. Then you get into like CrossFit, high rocks kind of workouts. And then you're like, oh, I'm dominating people at this. I'm a double down on this. How are you going at jiu-jitsu, by the way?
We'll find out later. It's been a bit hit and miss. I've certainly got to a stage where I think it's something that I'm committed to now. Sam, who's actually sat in the room, is probably the catalyst for me making that transition into like going regularly.
What belt are you? Blue belt.
He's blue, but we'll roll later. He's blue, but he's brown.
Oh, dangerous blue. 4-stripe blue belt, the most dangerous in the room.
Well, he's just not done. He's not really been consistent with wearing the gi and going to grading. So.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, we've obviously rolled a lot, and I see him roll with other higher belts, and he W's them. So.
No gi today, right?
No gi today.
Thank God.
I want to pick up on you when you become the personal trainer, because obviously that's where I think most people fondly know you for. But just before that, and this is a bit of a personal question, because you were adopted, right? When did you know or find out you were adopted, and how? What was that like? What was the impact on?
Always known. And what's interesting is, since bringing my son home, my missus has had so many questions from my parents, and she's asked them things that I never thought about. So she was like, how long did you try and conceive before having James? My mum and dad were like 10 years. I was like, 10 years? I was like, fuck. I was like, that's bad. I thought maybe they tried for a few years, nothing happened, whatever. And even the last few nights, sat there with my son and my missus, we've had like real deep conversations about it. But they've always kind of let us know, me and my sister from different families. And the reason I like talking about it so much is adoption rates have plummeted massively. Even between my sister in 1987 and myself in 1989, the pool of kids up for adoption had shrunk massively. And I think there's like a negative connotation to it. And yeah, my parents kind of always let me know, not like it was, you know, you're having an argument, you're not even my real son. It wasn't anything like that. Although I think maybe when I was 12, I was like, oh, fuck you, you're not even my real parents. And then 10 years later, I was like, oh my God, what a shitty thing to say. But yeah, it's interesting. Not many people really talk about it enough. And I think it's great, because ultimately your parents who bring you up, and them being blood relatives or not isn't that important. Although I had to say this to my dad the other day, me having my son, who is my first blood relative, I'm not saying it's an important thing. I'm saying it's a novel thing. I've never seen anyone. I was just saying then, when I saw your sister, I'm like, whoa. I'm like, if you guys are related, there's a heritage link here that I'm not sure about. And then you kind of can be inquisitive with that, where I've never had that. No one's gone, oh, people say you're going bald. Has your dad gone bald? I was like, I don't know. You got any family health concerns? I don't know. So
have you never known who your mum and dad are, that your biological mum and dad are?
So I'm a bit of a bastard in the sense that my mum got pregnant, biological. Then she tried to get back with my dad, but didn't tell him that she was pregnant, because if she did, then they could have got together for the wrong reason. So then she fled Ireland, where they were doing some pretty fucked up shit, to have babies out of wedlock. Came to the UK and gave me up here. So she told her family she was just coming to the UK to work. And then, yeah, she came here pregnant, met my parents whilst pregnant, a bit like Monica and Chandler out of Friends. She's there with the bump, meets my mum and dad. They're like, yep, we adopted Tara, my sister. She's 2. We want 1 more. Cool. Sign the deal. Done. But yeah, so it was a pretty straightforward thing then, but now I think it's even harder. And
have you had any contact with your mum since?
No, I'm pretty sure they can send letters, because my sister got letters from her mum, but they send it to the Adoption Society, then they forward it to you, so you don't get direct contact. As of the age of 18, I can contact her, but she can't contact me. And I never have.
That's just part of the law with adoption.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And also, it must have been a very difficult thing for her. So I kind of don't want to infringe on her privacy. You know, she gave me up with the name Kian. Then I've given that to my son. And even the post where I tell people about that, it's like fucking 80,000 likes. So then you do think there's going to be a woman in Ireland who knows that the son she gave up was of this age, was given the name James Smith because she knew my mum and dad. So I wonder if she's seen my content. She could follow me for all I know. She could be watching. She could be looking from afar. So there's all those complexities to it. But as far as reaching out to her, I don't think it'd be fair on her. One, because it adds a whole level of complexity to her life. I don't think it'd be fair on my parents because even if there was only an inkling of a percentage of a chance that it could not offend them, but be disrespectful to them in any way, I wouldn't want to do it. And last of all, for me, I struggle enough keeping up with Father's Day and Mother's Day as it is. To have like another mother, I'll be, I'm terrible enough as it is. I was booking in podcasts and I was like, 3rd of October. What do we got? My missus like, my birthday? I'm like, fuck. So having to remember more birthdays or anything like that, I don't see the net benefit of it. If I want to have more involvement in family, I can do that with my existing family. I don't need to find someone else to do it with.
I respect that. Right, let's pick up on personal training. James Smith PT is now just James Smith. Why have you dropped the PT from your name?
I only put that in there because I was so fucking desperate for a handle that didn't say James Smith Training, because that's what it was before, which was me just trying to create a brand that I could hide behind. Then over the years, I see all these people put PT in their name. I'm like, guys, you have a name. You could have had your name as the handle, but you put PT in it. I used to take the piss out of people for doing that. I never wanted it in there. I just wanted a short, more recognizable handle. But also, as a positioning standpoint, although I love being a coach, there are better coaches than me. There are people still doing it. And actually, I'm not a coach anymore. I just have a coaching business. And one of the reasons we rebranded recently to Affordable Online Coaching is there's 2 gripes that people had with the pre-existing business. 1, where's James when I join? Because it's not me doing that program. And 2, what is an academy? Because it sounds almost B2B academia. So I was like, sat there with my business partner. I was like, what we actually do is just sell affordable online coaching. And I was like, fuck, that's what we're going to call it. And really, we're a tech business. We have an app, we have developers, we have 10 coaches that are subservient to the people on the app. We have a community, which I'm active in, but it's not me doing the programs. And the positioning of me actually now, I run maybe 4 or 5 businesses. I actually want to be perceived as a business owner. You can't use the word entrepreneur in the UK. People think you're a fucking loser. It's like, imagine you meet someone in America, you're like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. They're like, go get it, man. What's your product? I'll buy it right now. But
mate, that's so factual. It's meant like America, you think bigger. Everyone's like happy to see you do well. In the UK, fucking everyone wants to tear you down.
And for instance, you're a very well respected coach, creator. Like, I've never heard anyone in the industry say something bad about you. And I can imagine that maybe you're traveling, you're going somewhere. Someone's like, oh, bro, you're in business class, you're jacked, you got a good tan. Like, what do you do? And you're just going to be like, I'm a coach. Oh, cool, man. Cool. And that's it. The conversation dies there. If you were like, I'm a gym owner, I've got a supplement company, I employ like 20 people, they're like, oh, look at this guy, fucking bellend. You can't celebrate it at all. It's from a culture standpoint, it's pretty cooked. But yeah, calling myself a PT is a disservice to PTs, but also myself, because I haven't done a paid session since 2017, which is fucking a long time ago. And because of that, the reality of it is I actually just market businesses. I'm not even people say, oh, talk to me about leadership. I'm like, I'm terrible at leadership. Talk to me about being a director or a founder. I'm like, I'm not even good at that. I barely check the Slack chats. Chris is always on my case for not checking the Slack. Really what I am is a marketer. I like making creatives on social media to send people to a website. It's pretty much all I'm good at, but I love it. So being called a PT, I was like, it's actually going in the wrong direction of what I'm interested in and probably what I'm good at.
That transition of face-to-face PT, and you worked as a personal trainer, and you went through the process of supply and demand, right? Reach maximum hours that you can do each week, bump your prices up, keep moving along until a stage where you probably felt as though you can't really go any further. That transition from face-to-face PT to online, what was the catalyst? Why did you make that move? And actually, it takes me back, because I remember the first time I came across you, one of my long-standing clients at the time, who's still a gym member of ours, big up Joe Smile if he's listening. He'll love the fact I've got you on the podcast. I remember him saying to me, there's this bloke, and did you live in like Teddington or Twickenham or somewhere around there?
I was from Windsor and Bracknell, originally.
Fine. He was like, there's this bloke that keeps standing in front of a whiteboard doing Facebook Lives. And he's basically saying everything you've ever told me. Because I used to send everyone these PDFs and bang on about calories, all this fucking, the same stuff. But he's like, he just delivers it in a really cool way. And he's like, his following's going up. Like, you should really check him out. I was like, mate, I'm not checking out another person in the fitness industry that's saying the exact same thing as me.
Not some other pleb.
What's the point? But you just kept like coming back into conversations. And then eventually it's like, you can't fucking ignore this guy because he's like relentless on socials. So I've kind of hijacked the question. The question first and foremost is that transition from face-to-face to online, and also the content piece that I've referenced there. Was that going on whilst you were face-to-face with a view that I was going online and kind of setting myself up for a bigger following and to monetize?
April 2014, qualified as a PT. And the day I qualified, I did my first post. I'm pretty sure it was a picture of my lunch. I'm pretty sure it was, if I go, oh, look, I'm eating chicken and broccoli, join my program. And the main reason was that I didn't like prospecting. So I started a gym. I was paying rent at the gym, but I'd walk the floor, build my following. But there was nothing more discerning than, hey, mate, just seen you're doing something. Can I just give you a fuck off? Cheers, mate. Have a good day. Have a good day, bro. So with the social media, I was like, one day I'm going to be in a position where I'm going to check my Facebook DMs and people are going to inquire for coaching. That was really what I wanted, to have a full book and people to inquire.
Someone taught you that could be the thing, or because that's quite
I was just watching that people were doing it. So I kind of was looking around, and so I started the Facebook page. And then my clients were like, you need a business Instagram. I was like, nah, I'm a Facebook guy. It's just me looking to avoid doing the work. Then I remember listening to a podcast, which I think was with Paul Moore. And he had someone on who regretted not starting an email list sooner. I was like, what the fuck is an email list? So then I created an email list. And I remember I was doing blogs on WordPress. And at the bottom of the vlog or the blog, I put a hyperlink and it would say, if you enjoyed this, you'd love my emails. And my email list was maybe at 200-300. My following was maybe at 3,000 on Facebook. And I was making good money as a coach, although I was just spending it. I was going away every weekend, playing sevens, Dubai, Norway, Sweden, anywhere that there was a sevens tournament, I was there. It's like Mr. Rugby, party. Moved back in with my parents just so I could travel more. I was even seeing a girl in Norway. So I just go to Norway at the weekend. I remember one day after SW4, I had a really bad come down. I cancelled all my clients. I sat in the bath, just feeling low. I messaged the girl in Norway. I was like, oh, what are you doing tonight? She's like, I'll finish work at 9. I was like, cool, I'm getting the next flight. Just fly to Norway. And then I've spoken about this a few times. I went to a festival in Croatia called Ultra. It's a really good festival. If you like your EDM, it's just nice. And you go to festivals in the UK, it's full of guys with like man bags doing ket, like in Adidas tracksuits. But when you go to Croatia, it's like people from all different countries. People are like bouncing on each other's shoulders. They're waving flags. It's like a magical experience. And I did this massive bump of ketamine. And I'm not endorsing ketamine, but it is pretty fucking good. And if you do little amounts, it's a bit like doing a balloon, like doing a nitrous balloon. Kind of you get a little bit floaty. Because people do cocaine, they like want to just chat. They're there sweating, ready to trump your story with a better one. You do MDMA, which is also pretty damn good. But then I get pee shy as it is. So pissing on MD at a festival, sometimes I might be in the toilet for 10 minutes and then I'm there thinking, oh my God, I've been in there 10 minutes. What are people thinking outside? And then I can't piss because I made it even worse. And I remember just really enjoying myself in Croatia. I had water bottles. I've been to the toilet. I'm with all my friends. And I was like, do you know what? I'm doing a big one. So I remember looking to an Australian guy called Gene who I'd met. And he just gave me the nod like at a Batman, at the end where Christian Bale gets the nod from Michael Caine. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then this like introspective conversation comes into my head. And then it started challenging me about what I'm doing in my life. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And it was kind of pushing me like, you need to move to London. If you're going to push your hourly rate up, if you're going to improve your business, you need to go to London. And the next voice said, but you don't even like London. I was like, no, I don't even like London. So what are you going to do? I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And the voice is like, where is the epicenter of fitness in the world? And the other voice was like, Sydney. I was like, well, you got to move there. I was like, wow. Never even wanted to go to Australia before. In fact, the Norwegian girl I was dating told me she wanted to go to Australia for a year. I said, well, let's just stop dating. I don't want to go to Australia. You should go. And I said, you're 24, go enjoy yourself. So we actually amicably stopped seeing each other so she could go to Australia where I didn't want to go. The second I kind of came back to reality, I just turned to my friends. I was like, I'm moving to Australia. And they were like, whoa, what's going on, mate? You okay? And there are people in your life that you go to almost get rebuttals, having a barbecue in the garden, say to my dad, I might go to Australia. And his response was, I've always imagined you living somewhere like that. I was like, fuck, didn't expect that. Strike one. went in, one of my clients, Jackie, I would always tell my clients to go up and just do 5 minutes on the cross trainer so that when I finished with my client, they'd be stepping off the cross trainer. I used to get them to do 50 calories, just warm up the body temperature. I'd come up and when I'm training Jackie, I was like, oh, might go to Australia. She stops. She's like, I've always wanted to go. We were going to go 30 years ago. We didn't. We had kids and we had grandkids. She goes, I'll never go. The next time she came in for a session, first thing she says, have you booked your ticket yet? I was like, fuck, strike two. Then I had a friend out there called Gorgeous George, and I messaged him. I was like, oh, what's Australia like? And he comes back and he goes, book your ticket or don't even fucking bother talking to me. I'm so sick and tired of people asking me about Oz. Just get the fuck out here or fuck off. So I sent him my ticket. And he replied going, good dog, let me know when you're here. And it was pretty scary because I had just built up this client base in the gym and I was turning my back on it. And everyone, my mates were like, you fucking stupid. You've got clients that, I trained one couple for half hour each every day. Sue did 9 till 9:30 and David did 9:30 till 10. And they paid me £800 a month for that. My gym rent was $360. So just those two clients, 9 till 10, paid my gym rent and my car finance. Every other bit of cash was mine. A little bit for HMRC, a little bit. And so they were like, you've got this amazing life. I was even living with my parents, which I was loving at the time. They're like, why the fuck are you going to Australia? I was like, I don't know. So I flew one way to Australia, stopped off in Bali for a bit. Didn't really like Bali. And when I got to Oz, just before I left, I sent an email. And I was trying to sell stuff via email for ages. Like you, the PDFs. This is energy balance. This is training. This is periodization. No one bought them. So for 10 months, I'm there sending emails. No one bought them. Mahendra bought one for £20. Cheers, Mahendra. Mahendra Patel, I still remember. And then it got to the point that I even tried giving away those PDFs. No one wanted them. I was like, oh, give me your email address. I'll send you a PDF. Didn't work. But I sent an email one day saying, hey, I'm going to go online. My current hourly rate is £55. So if you give me that, I'll train you for a week. And for that, we'll chat every day. I'll write your programs. You send me a form, whatever it is. And it was an editable PDF and WhatsApp. That was it. And like 10 people fucking signed up from the email when I said I was going to Australia. So I was making £550 a week to go backpack. I was like, oh, this is nice. And I'd be like partying in the Whit Sundays. And I'd look at my phone and it'd be like a PayPal payment. I'd be like, this is fucking awesome. Someone's watched my video that I posted yesterday or they've read my blog. And when I traveled, I got down to Sydney. And when I got to Sydney, my online clients were doing okay, but I needed to put down a deposit for somewhere to live, sort my life out. So I went to Fitness First. And Fitness First, George Street, where I met Duran. I go in there and I fucking hated it. 32 PTs in the gym, super competitive, super hostile, no windows, no natural light. And I tried to establish myself there. It just wasn't working. Then it got to the point that I actually didn't want to establish myself there. I wasn't enjoying my time there. So whenever I tried to prospect for a client, it was kind of half-hearted because if I won that client, it means I've got to spend 2 or 3 hours a week in the gym anyway. So there was one day, I remember I went outside the gym. I'm going to answer your question. We'll get into it. And I went to a little area called Australia Square. I'm eating some sushi. And I remember my 2 housemates messaging me, Gorgeous George, another guy called Ben. How's it going, Smiths? And I remember replying. I said, not good. Because I had like 6 hours of PT. I've been there a few weeks. I was just fucking hating it. And when I saw myself write that not good, I was like, oh, like it suddenly was real because I'd said it. It was a thought before, but now it's actually a physical manifestation of how I feel. So at that point, I just sat there and I thought, if I don't sort my fucking situation out, I've got to move home. I've got to go back to the UK. I've got to go back to my gym. I'm going to have to ask for my clients back. It's like, it's really not going to be cool. So on the way home, there's a place called Office Works on Pitt Street. I went in there. I got the whiteboard, got the pen markers, and I got a tripod. I went home and even my gym manager was like, where are you? I was like, I'm just ignoring this. And there's in our flat, we had a ping pong table. And there was a white wall and it was a static whiteboard. So I stuck it up and I waited for 3 p.m. to come around because 3 p.m. would be 6 a.m. UK time. I was like, right, I need to make a video because I didn't have a camera. I didn't know how to edit. My MacBook was so old, it wouldn't edit anyway. Going live was the only way I could make content. So I pick something, I pick a topic, I'd have a coffee and I'd be sat there for like 5 minutes as 3 p.m. comes around. And I was like, mate, you have to perform now because if you don't, you're going back to the UK. So I was like, cool. Go in, calories, macros, boom, 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 fucking arsehole, this, that. And then I'd stop the live and I'd sit back. And then I'd watch those just get shares, comments, engagement. And then my email list would grow. Then the next morning I'd send an email. Then a couple of clients would come through. And I was like, I fucking cracked it. And I got to 50,000 followers on Facebook. Then had to start an Instagram account because I realized I was just being a lazy cunt. I just didn't want to accept the fact that I would have to start late. So even my Instagram account started at the beginning of 2017. So it was like 3 years late on Instagram compared to everyone else. And every day I would do those videos at 3 p.m. Then I quit Fitness First, bought my way out, and I would go live at 6 a.m. So I would catch people before they went to bed with a live Q&A. Then I would catch them when they woke up with a live video about a certain subject. And it got to 50,000 followers. I'm pretty sure I was making £3,000 or £4,000 a week. And I remember I kind of looked at myself and I was like, I should probably get a camera. I should probably get a fucking camera. Seeing as all the money I make is online, I'm still going live from an iPhone fucking 7. I was like, this is the most stupid thing ever. 50,000 followers, bought a camera, bought a new laptop. And then I was like, cool, I'm going all in on this. And I got up to the point that I had 75 clients paying £65 a week. And I was fucked. Twitches in my eyes, going to the opticians. I was like, give me glasses. They're like, you're having too much caffeine. You're spending too much time on a screen. And then I was like, this isn't scalable. I could see the trajectory of my growth. I could see the level of service dropping off to the clients that I had. And Diran was in the same Fitness First as me. And I remember in the mornings, I'd prospect for a few hours, have a client. Then I'd come out and there's a courtyard outside Fitness First. And I'd get my tripod out and I'd go live. And I did not get on with the other PTs. So they're there openly mocking me right in front of me. They're like, oh, look at this fucking twat going live, talking to his phone, whatever. But Diran was the guy who was like, let's go have a look. And he would get up and he'd come round and he would look and he'd go, he's got 500 people watching him. Like 500 fucking people. What the fuck? And Diran was the only one out of those guys who was like, hold on, this guy's doing what I want. You guys mocking him. They're still in the gym now. Not to say it's a bad thing, but in that gym it is. And Diran was inquisitive. And he said to me one day, let's get a coffee. We went for a coffee. He was like, how'd you do it? And I told him, I said, oh, I send these emails. He goes, oh no, I've been reading them for a week. And Diran was the only guy that was actually sound to me. He was the only guy that was kind of like nice to me when I was in there. And then I told him about my problems. And he goes, you need to meet James, the other James. So as I joined the gym, another guy called James left. And I met him and he just fucking hates people. He hates dealing with people. He just wants to build websites. He just wants to sit in a room on his own and not deal with people. His last session at Fitness First, someone told me about it. He's doing a PT session and we have the name badges with the magnet. He just takes his name badge off and goes, I can't deal with this. You're depressing the fuck out of me. And just walked off. That was his last PT session ever. Just left his client there. It was like, what the fuck? So then James and I started building what was the academy. So then he's been my business partner for 7 years and helped us scale the business. I had to say goodbye to my one-to-one clients. We then have been running, probably one of the biggest fitness apps. We've had about just over 100,000 people use it, which by the means of like Sweat and other apps is sometimes maybe insignificant. But as far as regular PT, fucking not got any more qualifications than anyone else or whatever, 100,000 is pretty significant. And yeah, that's where we're at now.
Super impressive. What's really interesting is that every decision you've ever made, albeit some of them maybe have come from taking ketamine in Croatia, everything seems super calculated, which is like, I think that's a bit of your superpower is that you've been an early adopter, albeit you referenced joining Instagram late. You're an early adopter, and every decision seems quite calculated. Like you've got a bit of there's a aim behind why you're doing it. There's a goal in mind. Getting the whiteboard, doing the lives. You've not kind of floated to where you are now.
I think maybe from a strategy perspective, but I didn't know it at the time. I was just emulating what I was seeing. I was like, people that are doing better than me.
Who are you seeing? Because I genuinely believe you've pioneered a lot of stuff. I mean, going back, I've been in the industry the entire time that you've been in it. Joe Wicks was probably, I know that you had your beef with him in the early days, but he was probably someone who transcended that typical personal training tag, right? Books, deals, TV, different bits and pieces. There's not really many other examples of people that have.
I remember the top 5: Phil Lerney, Phil Graham, Mark Coles, and Ben Kumar.
All agree with everything you're saying. I think they were the only ones that still remain somewhat relevant in that they've got longevity to their careers because they've been able to move with the times. But I believe your success has eclipsed most of those.
So this is when I'm talking from 0 to 10K. There's Facebook. You could put people's names in the back end and you could rate your engagement against that.
Yeah, I always used to reference off Phil Lerney, Mark Coles, Jamie Alderton.
Oh, and Jamie Alderton was in there. He was the
Phil
Don.
Graham.
He is the Don. But he had 127,000 followers, And I remember when I had 10, I was like, he was the biggest player on Facebook. So Jamie Alderson was actually at the top. And I remember that when I had maybe 6,000, 7,000 followers, there was one week I had more engagement than all of them. And I was like, oh, that's where the belief kind of came from, the analytics in the back end. And then I remember one day I was sat there and I was like, this guy's smarter than me. This guy's 10 years more experienced. This guy's more muscular. This guy's more shredded. This guy's got a sick podcast. This guy, whatever. And then, no offense to these people, I looked at them and I was like, you're pretty boring.
Well, I was going to say, you've definitely got something different to them, because you've eclipsed their success both in eyeballs and
This is where the strategy came from. I looked at my clients that I had in the gym, and when I started being myself in the gym, my clients were fucking awesome. I could come in and say, oh, I had a bender last night. I've just got back from London. They'd be like, do you have a good night? Oh, where'd you go? What did you get up to? And even other clients, they'd come in, they're like, James, if you don't get a nicer car, I'm gonna fucking buy you a nicer car and I'm gonna make you pay me for it. They were actually supportive. One other guy, I said to him, I think flying business is a waste of money. And he stopped. He was like, the next 10 minutes, I'm going to explain to you why you're an idiot. And so all of my clients were like formulative into who I was and who I became. It was like having a massive cohort of parents. And then I realized that if they enjoyed their sessions, it actually wasn't so much about the results as it was their enjoyment. I realized that actually for half of my clients, they actually didn't give a fuck about their goals. They just wanted to feel good. And they actually just wanted 1 hour where they weren't at work. They weren't with their arsehole of a partner. They weren't sat in traffic. We could just have a laugh. And I would be self-deprecating. I'd talk about shit I'd got up to. I'd talk about the worst date I've ever been on. I'd be like, Sue, let me tell you about this fucking date last night. She's like, what happened? I was like, I was fucking catfished. And we would have a laugh. And I realized that actually so much of what the session was about was sure educating my client, but it was also just entertaining them a bit. And when you look at all of these other dons in the industry, I realized I could never be smarter, better educated, or in better shape. My only differentiator was that I had a sense of humor. So I had to intertwine that with content, because I actually came to realize pretty early on that when people turn to social media, they're not actually looking for just education, they're looking for entertainment. And for once, that's where I felt I actually had something over other people. And it was kind of thinking to myself, okay, I'm willing to listen to a 1 hour podcast on caffeine so that I can become an authority in it in a 90-second video. How can I make this funny? Whether it's, dry scooping some creatine powder, whether it's this, whether it's that. And I think that, very early on, I was just trying to mix two worlds to combine, because I realized that's why I got recurring payments from my clients. It actually wasn't my results. It was the enjoyment they got. And then the fucked thing was, as I started taking clients online, they got better results. And I was like, what's going on here? And I came to realize that there's this weird element of coaching where seeing someone once a week for an hour doesn't do a lot for them. And I actually used to think that online coaching was fraudulent and in person was the virtue. But I now come to realize that face-to-face, one-to-one really should just be used for onboarding, because it's not worth the money. It's not worth £60, £70, £80 an hour. And the online coaching is actually way better. My coach at the moment is a guy in America. I pay him $800 a quarter. We don't talk. I get my program. When I'm finished, I send it back. I give him my RPEs. If my RPEs drop off, he'll message me like, what the fuck's going on? I'm like, I'm traveling. He's like, cool, get back at it. And I came to realize that online is just better accountability. And if you can just stick to it and you have a good rapport with your coach, you do well. The face-to-face stuff is actually the kind of part of it where it's overpriced. I mean, group coaching, don't get me wrong. I know that how many of your coaches do one-to-one?
None. That's why we moved. It's fundamentally why we moved. Obviously, there's the commercial side of it, but moved from one-to-one coaching was why I moved from one-to-one to small group personal training for in-person. That's how our gyms operate. Because that one-to-one environment just becomes very stale.
I was just about to make sure I didn't like you to go, that's 50% of my business. No. I didn't think you didn't.
It's another great endorsement. It's exactly why I transitioned from one-to-one. One, because of the opportunity to scale and to start a gym that was, but it was more about the enjoyment of the session, the frequency of sessions, the price point, the intensity within sessions. It was just a much better training environment for our population.
Camaraderie as well. So before jiu-jitsu, I was doing CrossFit. And if CrossFit Bondi was a nicer box, I probably would never have done jiu-jitsu. So I was in Ascot before. Great coach there. And I was playing rugby at this time. And being a PT, I was doing all these sessions all day. It was actually a girl that I was kind of seeing who was just rigged. And she was like, come to a session. And I was like, nah. It's like, CrossFit, no thanks. And I went to my first workout. I loved it. Fucking loved it. And then I joined a gym and I would go there. I would even skip rugby training just to do a good CrossFit workout. My one rule was never look at the workout. Never. I'd walk in, I'd look at it and go, fucking hell. If I'd seen that, I wouldn't have come. Double unders and thrusters, fuck off. And so then, but I loved it. And I realized there was this weird element to it where I would look and I'd go, oh, Troy's a fucking beast. He's going to absolutely do me on these burpees, but he's shit at rowing. So I'm like, I'm going to stay behind him. I'm going to float. And then on the rowing machine, I'm going to nail him at the end. I'm going to ruin his day. So, Troy's not working hard enough because he thinks I'm 2 rounds behind, but I'm going to get him on the rowing machine, the buyout. I'm going to get him. And then I would kill myself on the rowing machine just to annoy him. The same way in jiu-jitsu, I have this running joke with my missus. If I'm ever can't bother to train, I will still train. And I'll say to her, why am I training today? She goes, to ruin other people's day. I was like, that's it. I was like, someone's going to be having a great day at training and then they're going to get hip tossed or they're going to get some bullshit choke or
can't wait to get to that level.
A wrist lock or something. So yeah, the camaraderie between it. But even if I lost to Troy on the rowing machine, I'd still be happy. I'd still be great. And I remember I went to Australia and I came back for a visa change and there were muscle ups and everyone knew I couldn't do a muscle up. But I kind of, doing the kipping motion, I remember I could get like chest to bar. Then at one point I got like my belly button on the bar and everyone in the gym stopped and everyone was like, we're not going home till you get your first muscle up. And I came home, my hands are bleeding. I got my first muscle up. I was like sick. I was like buzzing, whatever. And then I was like, that was fucking cool. And there was so many times that I used to shit on CrossFit until I tried it and I loved it. And then I've done group exercise classes. Never got into the whole high rocks thing. But if jiu-jitsu for some reason was taken off the table, I think I would go into a group training environment. I love my S&C on my own, where, if I'm doing heavy squats, heavy bench, whatever, I don't want to be with anyone. I actually think that's where you have group coaching on one side. We have this one-to-one PT in the middle, which is kind of the shittest of both worlds. And then you have your own personal training that you should be doing yourself, where if you want to go do some really heavy fucking triples on back squat, you need to be left the fuck alone. You need some really gnarly music and a lot of caffeine. And you need no one to, shut up, mate, I've got 2 more sets. You need to have that side of your training. Then you need the other side where you go in with the boys and the girls and you're like, right, we're going at it. Looking at your teammates and going, yeah, I'm well rested for this. You lot are fucked. And I think that's where you get the best out of people. And it was, for so long I kind of felt fraudulent with the one-to-one model. I think it's great for people learning the trade. They do still need to do that to understand people. And even now, so many coaches want to go straight into online. And I'm like, mate, you're doing the biggest disservice because even if you're only working for £30 an hour, to understand people and their problems gives you a superpower when you go into the business world. Same way that when someone walks into your gym, talk to them for 2 minutes, what their program looks like, what their training frequency looks like, what class they should be going to. You kind of know it because of your previous experience with working with those people. Some people that just want to go straight in and work from a laptop, they're kind of missing the golden years of what you need to do to be a good online coach or salesperson.
I think that's a really important message. And I will come on to ask you a question just on coach education and how you believe coaches should sort of navigate their way into their career these days. But just quickly come back to you as the personal trainer. I think we've touched on the fact that your USP and your differentiator, but I think the biggest thing has been always your authenticity and ability to be unapologetically yourself throughout this whole thing. And combining that with someone who's particularly charismatic and speak very openly about your opinions on certain things, which I think people have found very endearing. The other thing I think that's you've been very consistent with is sticking to the evidence, right? You've been very evidence-based throughout your whole career. You've attached yourself to some of the big names in the industry with their podcasts and what the research and literature that's coming out from them, which I think that's been a bit of a superpower for you because you've always just been like, well, this is what the research says. And you've been able to be the conduit to sort of articulate it in a way that's very entertaining, as you've said. And if the research changes, or if the opinions changed, or the data says so, you've kind of you've been like, well, it's now changed, so I'm changing what I'm saying. And you've obviously the calorie deficit thing has become what you were known for. Was that a conscious decision? Because you come into the industry, right? Most people jacked, fitness models, selling personal training services based on their pictures and the way they look, the whole bro science thing. You come in, by your own admission, not particularly well educated, but I'd suggest otherwise, because listening to podcasts that you run very early on and a lot of your, digesting a lot of your media, you did educate yourself pretty extensively, and you would talk very confidently with authority on a number of different topics. You've referenced caffeine or whatever it was, the latest thing that people were interested in. And I think you've done a very good job of staying on the right side of the evidence, articulating in a way that's very digestible for people, and staying very consistent with this calorie deficit thing. That seems juxtaposed to the person that would do ketamine in Croatia. do you know what I mean? Like it's not it doesn't seem natural for that sort of person to be able to attach themselves to the Lane Nortons and the Mike Israels and all these OGs from America.
So if you let's remove it from context for a second. In 2 hours' time, we're going to do jiu-jitsu, and if I teach you a technique, I'll tell you who, Craig Jones does his heel hook like this, Lachlan Giles does his like this. If I tell you a technique, I'll go, oh, I learned this at Sydney West Martial Arts. I'll credit to where I got it from. Nothing is absolute in a jiu-jitsu technique. It is the expression of it, which we can look at from its success ratios. Gordon Ryan does this, someone else does this. So there's always an element of standing on shoulders of giants. Unless you create a move in jiu-jitsu, which is near about impossible, you've learned it from someone, and that person is an authority. Now, the Lane Nortons, the Mike Israels, the Eric Helms, the Brad Schoenfields, the Brett Contreras, all of these people, they were kind of my black belts. So I was just ever referencing their techniques. And actually, one of the best things you can do is just point people in the direction, whether it's your Martin McDonald's, whatever it is. And I actually let those guys do the heavy lifting with a lot of that. And then if someone was to call me wrong, I would actually just point them in the direction of the source. If it came from a textbook, I'd point them in the direction of the textbook. If it came from a study, I'd point them in the direction of the study. And you can be wrong. That's fine if you are wrong. But I always had good authority with what these people were saying. So really what I was just a voice to echo it. Let's say in 2 years' time, I get my black belt and I teach a seminar. I'm going to teach other people's moves, but I'm going to teach other people's moves based on what I think people in the room need to know. So I say, hey guys, what are you guys working on at the moment? Oh, we're doing half guard. Cool, sweet. Here's 3 techniques from half guard that I think you guys will like. I'm not going to try and make up something that's never been there before. I'm going to try and make an educated decision on what the people in the room need. I'm going to do the same with you later. Hey, what's your favorite position? Where'd you get most of your submissions from? Cool, let's try out some stuff from there. So really my whole approach to it was giving people the information they needed based on the already established information before me. Now, when it comes to the world of muscle growth, there's this real elephant in the room. If you talk about muscle growth online, you're just opening yourself to get shot down. You're just, at the moment, so many people are trying to use hooks of, if you want to get big arms, and you're like, whoa, bro, you're opening yourself to a world of hatred online. There's a guy at the moment in Dubai walking around a gym in a basketball vest, and he's not the most jacked of guys. He's trying to give deadlift advice, and he'd be saying, don't use the bench press to grow pecs. And if you're trying to be an authority in a space, do not say something that can be torn down by 50 to 100 people, because when people come to see that video, even if it does benefit them, they're just going to see you getting attacked. The world of fat loss is always pretty easy to educate, and also it's one of those things that the demographic is massive. Let's look at Sean Casey. This is why I sometimes regret calling out Joe Wicks. Sean Casey, he's actually an incredibly smart young man. He's 24. And he has his fitness content, and then he throws in an air fryer recipe, something that's just going to bang millions of views. I'm sure if Sean is ever having a slow week, he just throws up a banger recipe. And again, they're not his recipes. The guy's not a fucking chef. Yeah, he worked at McDonald's when he was 18, but he's just copying someone else's recipe and making it look better. Standing on shoulders of giants. When we look at fitness, 15% of the UK have a gym membership? Everybody fucking eats. So when you look at a demographic to work with Sean doing his air fryer recipe, it doesn't matter who's on the fucking explore page, everyone eats. So they're going to be like, oh, fuck yeah, it looks amazing. When you go into the niche subset of weight training, muscle growth, hypertrophy, that subset is so small. The majority of people in the gym probably looking to lose fat. So if you want to work with athletes, it's 0.1%. If you want to work with people looking to build muscle growth, it's probably 3 or 4%. If you want to work with people that want to lose fat, we now actually have almost the entire spectrum of gym goers and then a massive subset of them that don't have a membership. So it's me playing into the audience of, if I want to have a business that has 10,000 customers, why would I limit myself to go into muscle growth where I'm not an authority, where I don't look like an authority, where I don't have a PhD in biomechanics or kinesiology or whatever these fuckers are saying at the moment? Why don't I play into a realm of fat loss where all I need to do is stay true to the evidence and stay close to my black belts in that world? Makes it easier, makes it harder to critique, and also I think it has a better impact, because let's say I trained with Mike Thurston in Dubai and he helped me with my bench press, where for the first time I was getting good pectoral contractions. It's not going to change my life. I'm quite happy having a shit chest, right? But when you help someone lose fat who's never lost fat before, they stop you in the street, fucking high five. They're like, bro, you helped me lose 12 kilograms. I fucking feel amazing. So with the kind of feedback loop you get off the advice you give people, fat loss can change lives. It can improve sex lives. It can improve health markers drastically. It can get people fitting into clothes they never fit in. It can give them a lease of life back. Teaching someone how to get more jacked is in some respects, not only not so impactful, but semi-shallow. And it's just people trying to be less insecure, which they're not going to get. The more jacked you get someone, they just want to get more jacked, and it's a never-ending loop. So fat loss, I think, leads down a path of true improvements to quality of life, where muscle growth and hypertrophy stuff could make some people fill out a t-shirt better, but ultimately it's not really going to change anyone's life for the better.
How have you not got bored in over a decade of talking about calorie deficits?
Oh, I'm tired, bro. I'm tired.
Do you reckon this is why the transition from coaching into more B2B stuff has been a bit of a catalyst?
Yeah, because if you were to say, oh, James, give us 5 ways to diet. Okay, can we not talk about landing pages? Can we not talk about email marketing? Because actually, the thing I loved about training people in person was you get to see them progress. And then train people online, I got to see them progress. But then my day-to-day life from 2018 to now has been creating social media assets that I put on the internet that generate traffic towards businesses. But it's not just as simple as that. Gary Vee calls it day trading attention. In essence, we are stock and share traders of attention. This podcast does exactly that. The clips you put up from this is an asset that you put out to farm engagements, then people come and watch the full episode. And if they watch the full episode, they're going to generate some kind of goodwill between both our brands. It's like a synergistic duality of, entertainment. So then when you look at the social media landscape and putting these little assets out, where you put a fat loss reel out, you're actually looking to help 10,000 people have a better relationship with fat loss. You put this reel out, you help someone feel better about the fact they haven't lost weight. So actually, my job for nearly 10 years has been curating ways to not only send people to websites, but to generate goodwill within those people. Sometimes you might have to post for 3 months before you ask something back from someone. And that's really where my expertise and interest is, because if I come up with a good idea for a campaign, it can have real tangible benefits to my life. So for instance, this month alone, I've run a few marketing campaigns that I only thought of a couple of months ago, and they've performed so well. I now have capital that I can invest into something else that potentially I could sell in a few years. That means that my family could live in a bigger home. And now that I've had a kid, it changes everything, right? And now this is where I get caught up with being very active, very overthinking with everything. I don't really care that much if there's a fat loss reel anymore. I've done so many of them over so many years. What I really care about is actual things I'm putting out there that not only improve people. The reason I like B2B so much is you help someone lose fat, great, they feel great. But you help a personal trainer live a better quality of life. You impact not only him, his clients, his future clients, but then all the people in his network as well, whether it's his family, his parents, his kids, whatever. And by helping them, I'm also helping myself. And I think that helping businesses gives me a lot more interest. One, because I've been living and breathing the business operations and marketing of a business way more than I've been doing the coaching. I've been caring more attention to the impact of social media strategy than I have undulating periodization. I've been putting way more care and attention into email marketing methods than I have, linear fat loss period, whatever it is. So because my focus has been on these areas for my own business, I'm having a much better time communicating that to other businesses that are the same. Whereas I've been so far removed from actual fat loss, calorie deficit, and training people for so long, it almost does feel a little bit labored. And yeah, that's really where I'm at the moment. And it's interesting. This year, my content and social media growth has stagnated, the most it's ever stagnated, but I've never made so much money that I've ever made in my life. And I kind of think I've definitely been caught up in a rat race with other creators of just trying to have the biggest account. And it's been at the detriment of my business, my turnover, and even probably my own sanity at some points. And it was really good this year where after having my son, I was like, I can't be fucked. You guys have the big followings. I don't care. I was like, I actually only need 10,000 of this 1.4 million, 10,000 of the 1.1 million on fucking Facebook or the 1.8 million on TikTok. I was like, I actually only need 10,000 people and I'm good. If I can set up several businesses that can cater to different things, and this is actually what I used to say in 2018. So I don't need a big account. Most of you guys with 1 million followers are fucking broke. And then I'm suddenly one of the big accounts and I'm like, why am I caring so much about trying to be this big brand or trying to have a bigger following than someone else? It's very easy to get caught up with that stuff. Similar with yourself, right? Family, good gym, good online business, good. I hear your supplements are great as well. You have all those things in front of you. Someone could come along and go, oh, bro, you could do this to get more followers. You're like, mate, I'm good. I'm happy with stuff. And it's been a bit of a reality check on the way. But as far as talking about fat loss, it's just not where my passion is. If I'm out and about and I bump into a PT, I'm like, show me your socials. What's your strategy? Why haven't you got an email list? And then I'll sell to them for 10 minutes why they need an email list. They're like, can I go back on my run? I'm like, oh, sorry. You know, they're the things I'm getting caught up with. And it's just where the interest is at the moment.
With social media, I mean, like I said, I think it's been someone who's, there are obviously other examples, but someone who's pioneered sort of social media. There was definitely a period where my Instagram feed was just cheap B-Tech versions of you, like people trying to just copy your content, because I think you just cracked it for a period of time and your following was growing. Those periods of sort of like calling, I say calling people out, but yeah, calling people out, comparison type videos, people, was that all part of trying to grow a bigger following because you knew there was virality there, or was that just like because you were just naturally on smoke during that period of your life?
Just ideation. So if I don't have an idea, I'll go look at what people have tagged me in, because it just gives me an idea. And for a long time, I set personal values of posting every day. And now I'm a bit disconnected from that. I think, oh God, it's actually quite nice having a few days where I don't post. So I think it just boils down to ideation. If I'm reacting to something, it's because I've got nothing to talk about. And adding people, it's interesting because, again, I became a product of the people, similar to Eddie Abu. So Eddie Abu, 2 years ago, putting out very sensible content. And then he must have just got a little bit excited in one of his videos and called someone a cunt. And then next thing you know, he got more views. So he's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do that again. And then he's gone to realize that if he goes into a supermarket, he gets even more views. Now, if he calls a gingerbread man a fucking cunt, he gets even more views. And Eddie Abu has become a product of the people that watch him, not who he is. And that can happen. So you react to something like 1.4 million views, let me tear down someone else. And then you get to a point where you're like, what am I doing? Am I actually having a meaningful, because the whole idea of the content was to leave someone in a better place that I found them and entertain them at the same time. But then sometimes I'd think, all I've done is tear someone down. I haven't actually brought any education to the table. No one's better off from that. And then you might grow your account by 20 or 30,000 followers. And then you promote something like Newtonic and they're like, oh, you're a sellout. And I'm like, fuck, I knew I shouldn't have done that viral video because I grew my account too easily. And people like you got through the net where you just piss me off. You're just negative little twats. And people go, oh, what? So if I don't buy your product, I'm a twat. No, but ultimately, if you don't want to buy it, you don't have to comment. You don't have to say anything. If I'm, promoting it in a video, just keep scrolling, bro. I'm a business as much as everyone else. Someone said this to me the other day. They go, oh, all you talk about now is, this, and then you promote your course or you promote your drink. Back in the day, you didn't promote anything. I'm like, bro, I'm not a fucking charity. I'm gonna have to go back to that 9 to 5 if I don't sell these things. So yeah, they call it a subprime audience. George Mack quoted that. I love it, where sometimes in a bid to get vanity metrics, you bring people into your circle that aren't right for it and they're toxic. They're the ones that, because one comment can ruin your day. So I try not to look at the comments ever, but sometimes you get caught up. I'm like, oh, how's this going down? And yeah, it's one of those things where nowadays I try and think to myself, okay, am I being constructive? With this tear down or rip into someone, am I leaving myself in a better position? And yeah, it's still a constant battle.
So I think it's a really mature perspective now to have. And like, is there any content or period of life during building your social media that you regret or?
Yeah, Instagram, when it was 59 seconds. So back in the day, Instagram brought in videos, but you could only do 59 seconds. Now on Facebook, my average video length was about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. So before they gave the option to carousel videos, do you remember you used to have to watch 59 seconds and scroll across?
Yeah.
So then when I had to compartmentalize a complex topic into 60 seconds, I became a twat because I was trying to be polarising, facetious, sarcastic, entertaining, and humorous in 60 seconds. And it just makes you a bellend. And I look back now and I don't like the person I see. That was the only period. And then on Facebook, there could be a bit more nuance. There could be a bit more of a setup. There could be a bit of, but before we think about that, it's important that we understand this. And you just couldn't do that in 60 seconds. And there was that period, and it worked though. That was the problem. It fucking worked. And
it did work.
This is the annoying thing. I look back at my content. I'm a big fan of reposting content. I think that if you work so hard to create an asset, use it again in 6 months. Because if someone sees it in 6 months and goes, Ollie, you fucking posted that before, you bastard. They're not the right person for you. They're not the person that's going to buy your next product. Whereas the people that champion you, your clients in the gym, they go, I love that video. I'm going to share it again because that video helped me understand that. I'm going to get it out there. So resharing is a really strong strategy, I think, for improving content frequency. But with that in mind, I go back and I go through my feed and I go back fucking 6 months ago. I'm like, oh, I hate this guy. I go back a year ago. I'm like, I can't stand him. The same way that if you go back and look at your old videos you do in jiu-jitsu, you're like, this guy does not know what he's doing. And I can do this at blue belt, purple belt, everywhere. The same way that when I go back through my content now, I hate the previous versions of myself because I like to think I'm improving at a certain rate. However, my manager sometimes goes, yeah, that twat you don't like from 2019, he earned enough money to buy a house. So you live in that house, so shut the fuck up. And I'm like, okay, fair point. You know, it's one of those things that even when you go back and you don't like the previous versions of yourself, you kind of needed to go through that to get to where you are now. And I still have to remind myself of that. Even lockdown as well, I was just negative in lockdown. I remember looking at that period and just being like, I was miserable. People were like, hey guys, today we're going to do a home workout. I was like, fuck off, world shut, you're all bellends. I haven't seen my family in a year. But yeah, now I look back at lockdown, I think, oh, times were good.
Let's move on to lifestyle. Because besides being an absolute, like I said, a pioneer, I think, of social media, both content and really, I think you showed the personal training industry that like what opportunities there were to try and create a life for yourself. Because you'd always been very opinionated in where you wanted to live, how you wanted to live. I remember watching when you first moved to Australia and even thinking, fucking hell, I wish I could be like this guy, just a little bit more happy-go-lucky about certain things and going with the flow. This whole lifestyle by design thing, I know you've changed your opinion on a lot of things. It used to be no mortgages, no kids, no settling down.
I still regret that. You know, not regret saying it,
or
buying a house is fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid. As far as a financial investment, to buy in a house and live in it, fucked. I think to myself, and this is a bit of a tangent, I still stand by this, but it was getting a dog that fucked me. Because if I rent, I look at my dog and he kind of knows his surroundings, he's pissing on stuff, he knows his way around the house. I kind of bought the house for my dog. Sounds fucked. My dog has the best life. He lives opposite the beach, he goes for a walk, he knows his surroundings. And there was a part of me one day that went, if I move house every 2 years, my dog's never gonna know where he really belongs. And the security of it, I bought a house for security and also for my child and my partner, but not as an investment. As an investment, it's so fucking stupid.
But you look at everything like it needs to be an investment.
No, but I like to, I imagine this. I went from having hundreds of thousands of pounds in my current account, which was great because every time I was having a bad day, I go, I've got enough money to go to Thailand for 20 years. Fuck all of you. I'm going to Thailand. I'm getting a villa. Fuck all of you. I'm getting rid of all the apps. I'm going to be in Thailand. I'm going to train jiu-jitsu every day. Fuck all of you. Then I bought a fucking lovely house and then I got a mortgage on it because it made no sense sinking all your money into the house. Then I've got this mortgage and now I've got this fucking 7-figure big debt. I've never been in debt my whole life.
You can still sell the house and fuck them all and go back to Thailand.
I know, but my fuck you money's gone. It's not there anymore.
It's just invested in the house.
Imagine I'm arguing with one of my mates. I'm like, here's 10 grand, just fuck off. You know, like I can't do that anymore because I've got the fucking massive mortgage.
So come and sleep in my spare room, kid.
And then the idea of paying it off over 30 years. 30 years, I want it gone in 4. I don't want the stress. And then even if I was to take capital I have and pay off the mortgage, I'm now just tying my hands for other investments, whether it be new tonic, diversifying a portfolio of ranges, starting up a new business. Whether or not after this podcast, you go, James, I'm launching this thing. Do you want to be in? Give me 100K. So having the house, although good, is still fucking dumb. And the point that I've made with that is not the best place you can put money. I don't believe. And the second thing is, it's not a sign that you're winning at life. And they're the two main things that we're brainwashed to believe. From an investment standpoint, everyone's like, oh, my house has gone up by 100K since I moved in. I'm like, yeah, but so is the house you're moving into. And, oh, no, they say, my house has gone up 10%, but so is the house you moved into. So it's not making money because you're now spending more money to move into the other house. Same way that adjusted for inflation, people genuinely think they're making loads of money on their house, and some people are. But often your money's just worth less. The fact that with inflation, your debt shrinks, fair enough. You've got me there. But if you were to, and not everyone's like this, and not everyone's that risk averse. But some people out there are really passionate about stuff. Someone might be moaning at the local tennis club that these tennis balls are shit. And you could just say, mate, for 10 grand, you can make your own tennis ball. And you could go into tennis clubs and you could prove to people these are the best tennis balls ever. You could spend your weekends going up to people playing tennis going, hey, look, I've created a brand. I want to give you some 4 free balls. If you like them, here's a QR code on the back where you can buy more. If you were to really put your mind to it, you could have maybe the best tennis ball brand in the fucking United Kingdom. And you could have 4,000 customers on repeat where every 3 months they get sent new tennis balls for fucking £10, whatever it is. I just made that up off the top of my head. But people are like, no, I need to instead get a mortgage for £200,000 and I need to move into an area I don't want to live in because I can't afford the area I want to live in. And I'm going to get a mortgage with a partner that I don't really love, but it will make the repayments easier. And people are going, they're taking a picture of their fucking key. I'm like, you're going to be broken up in 2 years. One of you is going to have to take the dog. You're probably not going to make that much money on it. And you've just wasted 4 years. Delete that picture of the key off Insta. That's where the point is with it. And from an investment standpoint as well, you know, I was a hypocrite by saying that. But what I was really saying to people is, I'm so glad that when I was 26 and I said to my dad at the barbecue, I'm thinking of going to Australia. He said, I've always imagined you living there, not, isn't it about time you bought a property? Because if my dad had done what all the other fucking parents say to their kids in their mid-late 20s, I would have ended up having a fucking new build house in Bracknell that was put together for the cheapest price possible with fucking loose bits everywhere and a tap that drips. And I would never have achieved anything I achieved in my life. By not following the status quo, I've one of the best lives ever lived.
I agree with you. I think and you've beat that drum, pretty consistently over the last 5-6 years. I think by not following the status quo, you've given a lot of people good reason to think about the situation they're in and how easily it is to try and change it and not to conform to what most people do, right? That being said, I think it goes back to, you could look at everything like an investment, right? And if you look at everything like that, you'll just torment yourself, because some things tangible, you can't really put a monetary value on something. It's not that tangible. Whereas something like your house, like you said, Maslow's hierarchy of needs in terms of safety and security for you, your kids, your missus, the dog.
What I hate is in Australia, we have something called negative gearing. So if I was to move into the house next door, I could pull all the capital out of the mortgage, and I could lose £1,000 a week, and I can deduct that from my tax bill. So most people in Australia are happy to lose money on their investment properties because it's deducted from their tax bill. It's negative gearing. So they've just got all of these assets that are going up in value, whilst the mortgages they have on them are shrinking, whilst the tenants don't even have to cover the amount of outgoings that they have for it. Then again, I can refurbish and renovate those properties and then write that off as a tax deduction. But the second I want to do that in the house I live in, I don't get the benefit of it. Living in an investment property or living in a property you own is, you're almost punished for living in it. I would have a better deal living next door. And then even I could write off some of my rent as a business cost because I use the house for work. From a tax perspective, I'm penalized so much for living in the house I bought, and it pisses me off. The thing is, it's value, right? Because I think flying business or first class is worth it. I'll never complain. Well, I did complain on the way here. It was fucking extortionate, but fuck you, Emirates.
You wait till you got to pay for your boy to fly business.
First class. Well, I got penalized for it because we had the bassinet seat. So because we had the bassinet seat, you've only got the 2 bulkheads in first and maybe 2 of them in business. So I was staring down the barrel of a £9,000 cost to change flights. Not to buy the flights, to change the dates. I was like, you cunts. You got me by the balls. Can I say cunt on this? You're going to beep it out.
You've done it already. It's fine.
Beep it on YouTube, it's fine. But for that, there's value. When I see my partner chilling and sleeping on a flight, I'm like, I have no problems. It's just when I feel like something isn't, stamp duty, for instance. Why am I paying you more than I used to earn in 2 years? I'm paying you to buy a property, which most of that property cost is going to be interest I'm paying to the bank. Then I'm paying that for money that I've already paid tax on. And I paid corporation tax for my business, then personal income tax. So now I've eventually got the money that I've paid tax on fucking so much. VAT, corp tax, personal income tax. There's 20% of it left. Oh, I'm going to buy a house. Oh, sorry, sir. You owe us 3 years salary in just stamp duty. I'm like, what's that? Oh, it's a tax for buying something with the money you've already paid tax on. This is the shit that pisses me off. You know what? So someday, and again, say you want to buy £1 million house. You need 2 million because you need to give 1 million to the government to spend 1 million. Not to mention stamp duty. It's this stuff that everyone's like, oh, get a house. I'm like, don't. Rent, enjoy it. Find a good landlord, get a 4 or 5 year deal, write off as much as you can against the tax man. If you're going to buy a house, don't live in it. And again, I've got Simon Squibb in my ear saying, you know, oh, you changed the lock on a house, change the lock on a house, and you think you're a fucking entrepreneur. Now more than ever, I honestly, and maybe this is just me being deluded from my life over the last 10 years. If someone genuinely had a good business idea, even a stranger, even my friends that I've had that maybe haven't been active in the last few years, I'm like, whatever you want to do, if you give me a good business proposition, I'll give you whatever cash you need, interest-free. Don't even care about equity, just build it up, whatever, you know. There's still so much opportunity. And I think it's a British thing that, again, I think I saw a statistic that per percentage of the population, I think this was George Mack, in America and the UK, we produce the same amount of well-educated people per percentage of the population. Yet in the UK, we produce 5 times less comedians. Because in the UK, or let's say you're in America, you're like, hey man, I'm going to go to Austin. I'm going to do Kill Tony. I'm going to go do stand-up every night. They're like, go get it, bro. You're funny. You can make a life out of this. Next thing, you're the new Shane Gillis. But in the UK, you're like, imagine one of your videographers was like, oh, I'm thinking of being a comedian. You're like, cool, see you in a month. when you come back asking for your job. We just have this shitty mentality. And there are people out there genuinely. And again, if you look at house prices, how old are you?
36 next month.
We are on the cusp where we've been semi-fucked, where the generation before us got a way better deal. Our parents got fucking good deals, and they're still in denial about it, arguing with my parents about it all the time. But the generation coming after us are proper fucked. When you look at 12, 14, 15 times salary for like a house price, in Sydney, the average house price is 1.4 million. Let's call it £700,000. Who, coming out of uni, is ever even close to that? The average Australian saves for 12 years to get a deposit. 12 years. Most people a few generations ago would have paid off their house in half that. So this entrepreneurialism for me and trying to instill this into people is more so that if you do status quo and you do the go to school, work hard, get a degree, get a job, work hard for 50 years, you're probably going to get to the end and retire with little to nothing, not anything to give your kids, a journey that may not have been that fruitious. If you don't create something for yourself, you might not ever get that opportunity. I think that the generation before us that could go get a job and work hard in the same business for 40 years, I don't know if that's going to be the same for everyone else. It's a bit of a risk. Anyone out there that's kind of semi-entrepreneurial or thinks they can make more of their life, they seem to think the risk is in going for it, where I think the tremendous risk is not going for it.
I completely agree. How much of your life now is hustling like you have done for the last 10 years versus living?
Well, imagine this. I'm really happy when I moan about stuff. We're having a little moan before. It's the happiest I am, right? Having a good moan, bitching about someone. This guy's doing my fucking, love it. Love it. The hustling side of things gets me excited. And actually, I quite like being a workhorse. It gives me purpose, and purpose makes me happy.
Because again, that for some people, completely, when you look at it, go to uni, get a degree, get a job, work 50 years, die. You look on the flip side of that, someone like you on 24/7 hustling. I can tell just by the conversation we had before the podcast, like you're on it pretty much the whole time. Obviously, you enjoy the fruits of your labor. You live a nice lifestyle.
I just want the fuck you money again. I've got it buried in so many places at the moment. I just want enough.
Everyone's trapped though within some kind of game they're playing. Where if you look at it through a certain lens, I
completely agree. And I'm on the hedonic treadmill. I'm guilty of it as charged. Bought my dream home, already looking at the neighbour's house. I'm like, oh, that's got a couple more bedrooms. I know the second I move in that one, I'm going to go, oh, there's one down the road. But I enjoy being on this. I do have to snap out of it from time to time. I got annoyed a few months ago that I didn't have a Lambo. And I was watching a Greg Doucette video, and he has like a G-Wagon and a Lambo. And I was like, if Greg Doucette is, hey guys, I was like, I messaged my manager. I go, where am I going? I want to get a Lambo. And he said, one, go to the dealership. You can get one if you want. You can afford it. I can't afford it. Like for me, I'm just not there yet. It would hurt. If I bought a Lambo now, I'd leave going, don't want that. The only buy something when it doesn't hurt. That's what the level of wealth you want to get to. Still on finance. Don't buy it outright. Stupid, like buying a house. But the second thing was, he goes, oh, well, if you move to London or you move to New York and you're happy to do 12-hour days, you could probably have a Lambo in a year. He goes, or you can just fuck off back to your life in Sydney where you work 3 hours a day and walk your dog on the beach and do jiu-jitsu every day. He was like, which is it? I went, yeah, good point. So although I hustle really hard, love everything, I still probably work really hard for 3 or 4 hours a day. I train for 1 to 2 hours a day. Now I'm trying to be a good father for a few hours a day, and I enjoy myself on top of that. It's been a bit of a struggle recently because usually I'd love to just, by the time 7 p.m. comes around, I fully shut off. No messages, no talking to anyone. Because when I wake up in Australia, it's afternoon in the UK. So I get everything done in the first part of that. I love the time zone. Then between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., the UK is asleep. So I'm left alone all day to just fuck around, make content, whatever. By the time 6, 7 p.m. comes around, it's my time. Me and the missus put a good series on. And that's probably where having a kid's disrupted me the most. We started watching the final episode of the Grand Tour, We started watching it 11 days ago. We're 20 minutes in. We can't watch TV anymore. And I know this isn't going to be forever. And also getting into bed at 9 p.m., taking some sleep supplements, maybe a bit of CBD, get my nose strip on, eye mask on, 9 hours of sleep, boom, gone. I don't even take sleep supplements anymore because I know I'm up in 2 hours.
Bro, when we had our first child, Leo, it took me 5 months to like, I wouldn't say I resented him, but I'd say it's probably, I resented him because everything you've just said, it completely took that away from me. It took your relationship away from you, your routine, the ability to spend time together, your sleep, all of it. It wasn't until we went to Portugal for a week, just the three of us, me, my wife and Leo. And I just built a bit more of a bond with him. And I was just, you know what? I was like, I'm not getting rid of you. Like, you're now in my life for the rest of the long haul.
I know a good adoption clinic.
And that was a sort of turning point for me of just realizing what it would have to take to be a parent and to be a dad and just to be a little bit less selfish.
For me, actually, my relationship with my missus, I'd say, is better because we are in a partnership and we don't argue, which is, I've never said this on a podcast, but when I'm with my mates and we're talking, they're like, oh, how is everything? I say, I came in the right woman. It's such a horrible thing to say, but I definitely did. Me and my partner, we're getting on great. I love Kian, the relationship with that. There's not any resent. There is times in the middle of the night where we're like, oh, fucking hell, but it's such an incredible gift to have. And I do need to snap myself out of it where I'm like, oh, you didn't do many emails today because you were spending time with your son, you asshole. And I know it's not permanent. And everyone around me some people said to me, oh yeah, it's beautiful, it's this. My business partner in James Academy, the other James, he sits me down, he goes, it's hell. And he was like, it's worse than you expect. It's fucking awful. And because he told me that, I was semi-ready for it. I don't think you're ever fully ready for it. And it is difficult. And my sleep's fucked. My training output and my productivity's down. But at the same time, I'm like, it's definitely worth it. I actually think that, again, the whole thing I've had with my son and my partner has actually probably made me closer to my parents because now you understand what they go through bringing you up. And considering it took my parents 10 years to get pregnant, well, I didn't even get pregnant, 10 years trying before 3 failed rounds of IVF before adopting, there's never a moment that I'm not grateful for the fact that we have a son. It was unplanned, but the fact that, if I was to go into the same hurdle my parents did through not being able to conceive, I would never have met a blood relative. That was one of my concerns. Even when I was like 32, 33, I remember, I think I just took a knock at jiu-jitsu, but one of my nuts was swollen. And I was like, oh, fuck. I actually had a bad week. I nearly took the exhaust off the bottom of my car. I found a lump or a swelling on my nut, and my visa hadn't come. The US Embassy had my passport, and I was supposed to go to America. So I was just stressed out. And I'd go to get an ultrasound on my nut. And I was like, it would be really shit if I had testicular cancer because in some cases they take them both off. And I was like, fuck, imagine if I never had a kid. Imagine if I never got around to it. So there's almost like a little part of you that when you've had a child, you're like, it's an insurance policy. Well, I've got one. The bloodline will continue. Which some people, for me, I don't argue with people that don't want kids. I do a bit. When I look at lineage, imagine keeping a flame alive for hundreds of thousands of years. Imagine me lighting a match and go, cool, we're going to keep this alive for 600,000 years. Stressful. Although staying alive is easier, it's still a pretty fucking hard task. And you think about all of the feudal age, the Bronze Age, all of the fucking ages from campfires to, surviving winters and all of this shit to get to a point in life where I think it can be a bit of a shame when people don't have kids because everyone went through so much suffering to keep the lineage alive. And some people are like, nah, thing is, me and my partner, we like going to Benidorm every summer. And
well, I think there's a lot of people, because of the opportunities now to live a pretty cool life. I know a lot of people that don't have kids that live, they don't go to Benidorm, they go to some amazing places. Just like, do you know what? Like fair play. Because that does get to some degree snatched away from you when you take on being a parent.
100%. But I feel that I listened to an interesting podcast about this recently where one of the biggest correlations with having less kids is mental health. And anxiety and depression is often a perceived outcome that the future is going to be bad. And that definitely has an impact on people's kids. He goes, the happier a population, the more kids they have. Now, people that don't have kids, the hangover probably won't catch up with them for 10 years. And I think that when you check in with people that decided not to have kids in their 40s and 50s, there is a larger cohort of people that regret it than are happy with it. Yeah. And to the people that are happy, fair play. There have been nights where I haven't slept, where I message my mates that aren't having kids. I go, fair play. But on the whole, it sounds pretty fucked to say it. I think people, if you're going to fall off a side of the fence, do it with the kids, because although you might ruin your life, and this is another thing, I actually decided that I had my first child at 34. So actually on my 35th birthday. So I was like, even if this ruins my life, who cares? I had 35 fucking amazing years. Even if this makes my life fucking shit for the next 30, I'm just going to dedicate it to giving my children the same life that I had from my parents, because I've never actually asked my parents saying, hey, did adopting us ruin your fucking life? I know the answer wouldn't be yes. And if it was, they wouldn't tell us because they're polite. But there should be some kind of falling on the sword, because your friends that didn't, or that chose not to have kids, if their parents had made the same decision to see the world and go to amazing places, they wouldn't be in the privileged position of going around the world and seeing amazing places. So this isn't that I've got like a diehard position on it. I just think it's a bit of a shame sometimes. But if you're a shit parent, don't have kids. Don't force it.
I'm in the same camp as you, and it does every day gets better with kids. It's an absolute blessing. Is there anything that I mean, you appear to take everything in your stride. I think this is because of your worldview. I think also because the way you've been brought up, and even your view on the adoption piece. Is there anything that you don't take in your stride that does get you down? I know you've written books on confidence and all that kind of stuff, but in terms of like stress, anxiety, building businesses, parenting.
Yeah. So I spoke about this actually on the High Performance the other day. I've definitely created a bit of stress around me that surrounds opportunity. So I'm not sure if it's the same for you. We go to school, we have a lot of friends, and even you look at the high achievers that were in my class at school, I don't see any of them now. They could be doing very well, but I don't know. If you were to take my whole class at school, I would probably be perceived as one of the lowest achievers. And this was like my parents' evening things, like James doesn't apply himself, James is lazy. I'd see educational psychologists, got tested for dyslexia, dyspraxia, anything that you could get tested for, I got tested for. And then suddenly in my late 20s, I went from 26, 27, borrowing 150 quid off my dad. Actually, my housemates bought a sofa for our apartment and I didn't have any money. And even though my PT business was going well at the time, it was one of those where I just paid the deposit, paid this, paid that. And my housemates were like, oh, Smiths, we need 150 quid for the sofa we just bought. I was like, fuck, I don't want to tell my friends I haven't got it. So I go to my dad. I was like, oh, Dad, can I borrow 150 quid? This is fucking 27. And he's like, yeah, don't tell your mother. Like a little bit of banter between me and him. And then later on, come to like 30, 31, I think actually at 32, I bought the Porsche outside, I bought my parents. I was like, came home one day and my dad picked me up in a hire car. I was like, Dad, what's this? And he's like, oh, he had a Range Rover on finance. He got to the end of the lease and he didn't like the bubble payment. He was like, I don't want to commit, whatever. So he gave the car back. So he came and picked me up in a fucking hire car because they had a Mini and he couldn't get my suitcase in the back. So I was like, we're sorting this out. And when I bought him a Porsche, they were kind of a bit gobsmacked by it. So was I when I saw the price. But when I brought it home, seeing the delight on their face, I was like, fuck. You know what? The only thing, this was a revelation as well, going slightly off topic. I bought them the Porsche, but then I realized what would make my parents the happiest. And it would probably be coming home with a partner and a child. And I surprised them. I didn't tell them that my partner and child were coming. And it was true. When I gave them, when I handed my son over to my mum and my dad, they were like, that was the ultimate gift. But now on top of that, my mum and dad still have a mortgage on their house. My sister still has a mortgage on theirs. I still have a mortgage on mine. And if there was anyone in our network or family that could pay that down and alleviate stress for everyone else, it would be me. So I have found myself now the last couple of years where I've definitely catastrophized a lot of potential outcomes in my world, so that I want to be able to be successful enough to cover that, because I don't think anyone else can. I don't think anyone else will. I don't think that anyone else is in a position to be able to do those plays. Do they expect me to pay it? No. Are they all waiting for me to pay it? No. But I've kind of got to a position in my life where I was like, I have the opportunity to have a positive impact to people around me. And all it means for me is a bit more stress, a bit more fatigue, a bit more work. And I'm happy to do that, because even my dad, he messaged me a few weeks ago about downsizing. I was like, you're never downsizing. I was like, I was born in this house. We're staying here. I'll take the mortgage payments. I'll pay off the house, whatever it is. That level of stress is probably above and beyond what would be ideal. Like I say, rewind 3 years, I'm single with a few $100,000 in my bank account. I got my Thailand fuck you money. Fast forward a bit, I'm now looking to pay off 3 mortgages whilst investing into businesses and all of this stuff. So it's definitely improved the complexity of it, but at the same rate, at the end of the day, the potential outcome of it could be massive. So although a laid back life would be good, I feel like I'm spinning more plates now. And although I revel in it, it'd be nice maybe 10 years from now to not have that stress. But for the time being, I can handle it, especially when I get my sleep back. Give me my sleep and I'm ready to go.
What's doing business with Chris Williamson like?
Offline, you could throw around the word autism. Online, you can't. It's not fair. Do I call him autistic a lot? It's not to be discussed on the podcast. I'll tell you afterwards. So this is the thing about Chris. He's a sucker for an attention to detail. Actually, hats off to Chris. The reason these drinks taste so good is because of Chris. When we got sent like 10 bottles, V1, V2, V3, V4. I was like, oh, V5's quite nice. Chris is like, are you stupid? V5 is disgusting. He's like, the erythritol is way too overpowering and you can taste the rhodiola rosea. So, oh, fuck. But I'm the type of guy that likes the taste of Red Bull, even though Red Bull's designed not to taste that nice, because if it tasted nicer, you wouldn't think it was working. Chris then arrives in Liverpool with a suitcase of every single competitor's drink. Gorilla from Derek, this drink. We spent a day in Liverpool literally taste testing every single drink. And Chris dialed in the flavors so well. Got to the point that I just kind of took a step back. I was like, Chris is running the show here. And that was amazing. Then let's say we look at the copy on the back of the cans. So the cans have to be different for every single territory. You produce a can in America, has to have the supplement sticker on it. UK is different. If we want to do it in Australia, we need to have a little 10-cent icon. Chris will look through this. And if there is one word or letter that's in lowercase that should be higher case, whatever, you'll know about it. And he gets a bit frustrated sometimes because I genuinely think things like that keep him awake at night. He has a few issues with that, but that's great because we need that side of him. He's the real attention to detail. I'm the more fast and loose guy. I'm the guy that could create a viral reel in the next 4 hours about it, where although he does that, he's very good at that attention to detail. But now he gets very annoyed with me because they'll be talking about the icons on the side of the can in a Slack channel. And I know that if I say something and Chris says something else, we're going to go with what Chris says. So now I don't even read the threads. And now Chris will nudge me and be like, James, Slack, read this thread. And I'll comment on it and be like, yeah, looks good.
Whatever Chris said, I'm agreeing with.
But then Chris comes back and goes, you just replied to a comment from a month ago. I'm like, fuck. He's like, are you seriously telling me you haven't read the Slack channel in a month? I'm like, I'm sorry. So Chris is excellent. He's really good. The fact that we can have these cans in front of the Hubermans, the Ben Shapiros, like so many people that you're like, fucking hell, that's Jordan Peterson in front of a product that we run. He is all the things that make him great from a podcast perspective really benefit us with the brand. He's a great person to be in business with. We're just very different. And I'm looking forward to opening his Australia tour. And I'm going to kind of roast him a bit, but I want to roast his accolades. He's a very impressive character. If you look at him across the last 5 years, I don't think anyone's really given him enough credit that his podcast has been going, let's say 6 years. For 4 years, it wasn't that impressive. The impressive thing was that he was still doing it and turning up and treating it like a professional fucking outfit. And in 2 years, it's literally one of the biggest podcasts in the world. And I will say now that maybe with the introduction of the comedy club, you can tell Rogan's not slowing down at all. I have great admiration for Rogan, but you can tell he much rather likes catching up with his friends than he does big guests, which is great. I love listening to them as I fall asleep. But as Rogan is now moving into the space of having more friends, a lot of comedians, I'd say maybe 60, 70% of all the guests are comedians now. And if you're not a comedian, you're like, oh, I don't really want to hear him talk about this. Chris's guests and portfolios are just getting better and better and better and better. And I actually said to Chris the other day, I was like, if you keep this trajectory going, it's going to be you and Rogan. I think he's going to do Huberman. I think he's going to do Lex. I think it'll be Chris and Joe at the top. And he's the man for it. When Chris opened for my shows last year, I've never seen someone improve so fast. It was frightening. In 11 shows, he'll openly admit that the first show, he was a little bit stiff. Every single time he stepped on stage, he was a different person. And he managed to do what I did in 3 years in like 3 weeks. It's very impressive. Another thing that I've come to realize, if you listen to him talk, he doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't he doesn't he doesn't say, but like, he has a speech coach and he pays such attention to the details. I reached out to his speech coach just the other day because I listened to myself in a podcast and I said, like so many times, I couldn't listen to it. And I've actually probably taken a bit of inspiration from Chris. I'm not a podcast host, but if Chris is going to pay the level of detail to even just the noises he makes between words, I can learn from that. And if I can make only 50% of the progress that he's made in that realm, it will make me a better all-rounded character. Seeing as verbal communication is a large part of my business, I can pay his coach fucking £800 an hour or whatever it is to get better at speaking.
I mean, the reason I asked is when I saw you two come together, like a bit of a yin and yang, but I was just so excited by it because I've got a lot of admiration for Chris, known him a number of years. And I think what he's done with the podcast, like you said, I do give him credit, probably not openly online, just because I don't think anyone's interested in my opinion of his podcast online. But behind closed doors, I think it's incredible what he's done. Incredibly studious. The attention to detail is meticulous. And I think you two coming together to create a brand it's exciting because you know you're going to get two perspectives on how to build a brand that are both very different, but are both going to be very both credible, unique, and are going to be impactful.
You know, I spoke before about the weight on my shoulders of 3 mortgages, which isn't in the grand scheme a fucking massive thing. Chris, I feel, has the weight of the world on his shoulders at the moment because he almost like, see, I just said he almost like, there was no necessary for them. Like, he has such an opportunity to positively impact millions of lives. And I think he takes that very seriously, and rightly so. And I can see he takes that in his stride. We're in Vegas, 7 p.m. I'm like, come have a drink. Puts his AirPods in, goes to his room. He's protecting his voice. He's protecting his mind. He's protecting his ability to articulate. He might not be doing a podcast for 3 days, but to him, it's that important. And I do rip him openly and I do banter him. But at the same time, there's a level of admiration to the commitment to the cause. And there are so many people that, given that level of wealth, notoriety, impact, whatever, would either crumble or get lost. And when I observe him from the outside, he's actually just getting started. It's almost frightening watching the person he's become, because people just think he's a smart guy having a conversation. There's so much more to it. The research he does on it, the sets, the production. Who in their right mind spends £25,000 on a set just for a podcast? And that level of brilliance, I think, it's great to see. And it definitely gasses me up a bit. It's great to be in business with someone who makes you realize you could be doing more self-development, makes you realize you're not reading enough books, makes you realize you're probably going out too much, makes you realize you know all of these things. And it's great because even just spending time with him, although sometimes frustrating, it definitely lifts you up. It's nice to be, in the room. I think he can sometimes learn from me, though, to loosen up a bit. Have a strawberry daiquiri, you fucking wanker. Come
on. Mate, look into the future. Is there any things associated with, well, you mentioned personal growth and development that you're working on right now? I mean, you've accomplished so much. We haven't even spoke about the books, the events, the IFS stuff. I mean, there's so much more I could have spoke about. But is there anything that you're looking to achieve beyond paying for the 3 mortgages? Is there an end goal in sight?
The side tangent to this, like let's say you've got a tree that you want to grow in a straight line, you have that bit of bamboo next to it. To me, that's jiu-jitsu, and I love it. It's, no matter how I'm feeling, what's going on, I should love having that there. Just working towards enjoying brown belt, competing as much as I can. I think that...
Do you ever think about how many people you influence to start jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, and where's my money? No, I'm joking. I do want to...
Seriously, the amount of people that I think that I know would have started jiu-jitsu because of following your journey.
It's actually one of those things that I'd be happy never to monetize because it's benefited me so much from a mental and physical standpoint. Also, if we were to do this podcast 5-6 years ago, you would beat me in absolutely every single domain of fitness, lifting, everything. But what I like now is, although you can still do that, when we get the mats out, I could potentially have something I can have over you. You ran an ultra the other day.
Yeah.
I'm like, but does he know how to enter saddle from 5 different positions? So it's kind of like,
got me on that.
It's kind of like learning a different language in the background. It's nice to have competency in a realm, but not in a way that I want to dominate or hurt people. Actually, I can't wait to teach you things later. I actually get a buzz from that. I think that I want to accomplish good things at black and brown belt. I want to shock people. I have this complex in my mind that I create a narrative in my mind that people think I'm only a brown belt because I've got followers. So every time I go to a competition, I'm trying to prove people wrong that might not even think that. And in the next couple of years, I want to try qualify for either going to Worlds or maybe even trying to qualify for ADCC from Australasia. So that's a big ask. You have to be one of the best athletes in Australia to do that, but I'm going to go for it. I think I might do Masters Worlds the next time I can, just to see how I can fare on the world scale. Because even if I podium at Worlds, someone could be like, oh, you're an arsehole in your content. Oh, your fitness business is shit. Oh, your new tonic drink is a fucking con. Oh, your business mentorship is you just being a wanker. But they can never take that away. They would hate me on all fronts and be like, oh, fair play, silver medal at Worlds. You know, so it's one of those things that I'm just, loving at the moment. Whether or not I'm looking into a couple of businesses in that realm, I'll tell you about them offline. And it's exciting. I just enjoy it. I just love it. And again, if I get my black belt in a couple of years and everything goes to shit and social media gets hacked and everything, John, I wouldn't even open a gym. I'd just teach at my local gym. And I'd just get by doing that, walk my dog, teach jiu-jitsu, happy days.
Do you have a vision of just like some stage in the future just be able to turn off all the socials and just go in incognito?
I think I'll lie to myself and say yes, but probably not. I think that the second that I'm past it, completely non-relevant, I'll just be helping other people because I just love getting into the nitty-gritty. And do you know what I think it is as well? I like being right. I like being able to say to people, I fucking told you so. You know, I think that's my ego from a perspective. So when I help businesses and help them with their social strategy and a video pumps, I told you. People say, oh, this might not happen. I'm like, send this email with this offer and they'll fucking buy. People go, oh, I made 10 sales. I'm like, I fucking told you so. So I think I'll probably just live the rest of my days feeding my ego. Maybe it's narcissism. Maybe it's philanthropy. Maybe, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's some kind of weird complex I've developed in my life. But either way, I'll enjoy it. As far as switching off now, I don't think that's ever on the table because even if I was to switch off from business, I would have to focus it into jiu-jitsu or something else.
So what I found really interesting and kind of enlightening is you referenced the Instagram period where probably it wasn't real life in terms of who you were being. Well, it wasn't real life, right? You look back at that person with a bit of distaste and disdain. What's very evident is you spent your whole life trying to help people, whether it's people getting in shape in the gym, people getting in shape online with a calorie deficit, personal trainers trying to grow and scale their businesses and be, see an amount of success that you might have seen in your career. And I think I've always looked at your content and seen your growth and always just been just in admiration of really the work ethic. Irrespective of the subject matter and what you're talking about, it's the ability to show up every day and not miss a beat. That demanded my respect. Never really paid too much attention to whether I liked what you were saying about certain people or not, because I don't really have an opinion on it. But the fact that you've always had this thread of wanting to help other people and leave the industry in a better place than you found it, I think it's really, really admirable. I'm very excited to see how things go with Newtonic, with you and Chris. I really like the idea of you now investing into other businesses and stuff. I think that's really cool. I'm in a period of my life where we've got obviously multiple things going within Marchon, but those opportunities and I think to partner with people, I think are really exciting. I think there's lots of stuff that I haven't managed to touch on. I know your wife your girlfriend is sat in a coffee shop somewhere waiting for us and we're a little bit late. So I'll have to hold that for another time. But
next time I'm back, we'll sit down. We'll do the rest of them.
I really appreciate you coming on, James. Thank you, mate.
As long as we get good downloads.
Well, if you've done high performance and now you're on Without Limits, I'm sure we're gonna bang.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it, mate.